Hello, masters and humans, I suppose. Welcome back to our weekly hamefura discussion video. I know it's been a while since the last one, and I sincerely apologize for that. However, I do have a special guest with me today. I actually watched these episodes now with the lovely space girl, Stella Luna, so I thought it might be appropriate to have her join me for this week's discussion. But before we get into it, quick reminder if you haven't done so yet, to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell and set notifications to all that good stuff, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get to this week's discussion, shall we? So, Space Girl, this was a hell of an episode.
Yes it was. It was a crazy episode. Not really that crazy, but it was crazy because a lot of things happened.
It was certainly different. I think for me the biggest standout was easily Nicol. I think Nicol was the big surprise this week because he's normally such a bore. You know, I fall asleep whenever he's on screen.
I was about to say, you fall asleep. You always just...
And what happened? I blacked out for a moment. Yeah, I just fall asleep. Well, he's so boring. He's just so...
He usually is so boring. He's gotten, in the entirety of both season 1 and what episode are we on? Episode...
6?
What is this?
No, this is episode 8, I believe. Episode 8.
8. Yeah, we have not, so basically from season 1 to, episode 7, we've had literally nothing on any type of character development or even just character in general from Nicol. The only thing that Nicol was, up until this point, was Sophia's sister or brother.
It's true. He really didn't have much of a character. Yeah, he was just sort of there. His character was sort of akin to the character from School Rumble, whose name is escaping me now.
Kurasuma.
Yeah, Kurasuma, where he's just, his character is that he's boring, right? That's sort of his character. He's very pretty, but he's boring. And I think that was the joke, is that he's super, super pretty on the outside, but he's sort of dull. Right.
This is why I'm I was so happy to see some kind of character development and him speaking. When he had that conversation with he was just having conversation with his dad and Raphael, or aka Sirius. He spoke a lot, and I was like, he's speaking kind of a lot. He's spoken more in that little bit than he did in the entirety of everything we've seen up until that point.
It's very true, and what I love is that the reason why he's talking is Katarina, right? We've always known he's a candidate, right? He's part of the Harem, he's there, he's one of the routes in Fortune Lovers, so of course he has feelings. But of the group, we discussed this during the episode itself while we were watching, but he is the one who seemed the least likely to court Katarina. He seemed the least likely, he wasn't going to win.
To court.
I'm an old soul. I'm from a different time, Space Girl. Forgive me.
To court.
To court Katarina.
It's like tennis. Love. Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Love is 0, right? Anyways,
15 love. Yes, love is 0, I believe.
Yes, yeah. 15 love. Yes.
Yes.
15. I'm better than you. Love. Anyways.
All right.
Yeah. I was surprised about Nicol and how and just how much development we got, the fact that he thought about giving up on Katarina because he's well, she is already engaged, and
to his friend as well.
To his friend, right? Which is really thoughtful too of Nicol to kind of show that he is a caring person, right? He's never come across as really cold-hearted or anything, but he's been known as the Black Prince, right? So
yes.
That's a very good that's a usual trope for Ultimate games, is your Black Prince is the cold-hearted one, which I actually think in Fortune Lovers that was technically Keith.
I believe it was supposed to be Gerald. Gerald wasn't the cold-hearted one. He was the masochistic one. He had sort of a dark streak, right?
Yeah.
And then Keith was supposed to... Yeah, Keith was the playboy.
No, he was the playboy.
Yeah, that's really weird.
No, it was Alan who was the cold-hearted one.
Yeah, Alan was cold.
And
then Keith was... Keith is the playboy. That's...
Do you ever think about that? Anyway, oh no, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, we're getting off topic. Yeah, but that is weird. That is weird. Welcome to a JoJo Talks Too Much video, by the way, where we always go off topic.
Yeah. This was supposed to be the Playboy, and look at him now. He is whipped. He is a 100% certified simp for his sister, which is kind of weird.
It is a little weird, I'll admit. It's a bit, yeah.
Little weird, but, you know, certified simp. That's what we're going to call him. Anyways, yeah, like, Nicole going and realizing, like, you know, that he might not have a chance, Katarina, and he should start, like, looking for other candidates, right? And all the candidates he came across, he's like, nope, and nope.
He really did. It's funny because there was a few. There was the blonde one, who was able to carry a conversation, right? Because the first girl just collapsed, right? Like the first girl, she just couldn't. Yeah.
She probably died of that nosebleed. She lost too much blood.
It was too much. In fairness, Nicole is a very handsome young man, right? So I understand, but she really did. Like, she was just done, right? She fell right over.
Yeah, you know? She's just dead, you know.
Yeah, she died. It was very tragic.
She died of cardiac arrest.
Like... Yeah, very tragic turn of events. But the blonde one was able to hold the conversation and could just tell. Right? Yeah. Like, she just knew, all right, he's not interested. Right? Yeah. Which is sad. Yeah, and then they showed, like, a lineup, right? Like, of all these different characters. And the thing that I have to give them credit for is they were actual designs. You know, it's like, these are actual character designs. Like, they're not just, like, stock anime character for when you need, like, a crowd
with
shot.
No face.
Yeah, with, like, no face. Yeah. It was actual designs, right? I could have done a whole character design on all those different girls and been like, oh, maybe they were like this, right? Obviously not important, because they're only showed for half a moment. But it is funny to see, like, how he just, like, how the show, like, gave each of them a design to show, like, these are actual girls with real personalities who genuinely are interested in Nicole, but he just is so dedicated to Katarina.
He's so down bad.
He's down so, he is down so bad.
Down so bad for Katarina, because every time he was having a conversation with a girl, he was like, what would Katarina say? Exactly. What would she do? Instead of, like, engaging with these other girls, which I feel bad because, like, clearly he is trying, but he just could not get his mind off of Katarina. Because, again, he is down bad.
He's down very bad. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I think he had a lot of very funny interactions there, and it's interesting because his father in particular keeps telling him, like, throughout the episode that it's not required that he gets married right now, right? Mm-hmm. He had, like, yes, he's the son of the prime minister, and that's a big deal, and blah 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 blah. But he's still like, they're what, teenagers? Like, he's
like 15, 16.
Well, because they say that he is graduated, correct? Like, he's not in school with them anymore, or something like that.
Oh. Maybe. I think he is older than them.
By a little bit. I don't know how much. Like, maybe like a year or two.
Yeah.
Because I believe Sirius and him are graduated now. Yeah, so they would be a bit older. So maybe like late teens.
When we were watching the episode, I thought to myself, it was really nice to see Raphael and Nicole, like, interact with, like, Nicole interact with somebody, like, fully interact with somebody other than Sophia, right?
That was a big deal, yeah.
It was a pretty big deal, right? Because one of my favorite things in shows that I love seeing is I like seeing characters who maybe wouldn't usually interact with each other, right? Because it becomes like, it feels like a full group, right?
Yeah.
Like a very full, you know, group of people that, like, know each other, rather than only these characters talk to these characters and these characters talk to these characters. But theoretically, these two do know each other. They just have never spoken a word to each other.
It's true. Like, I enjoy because they were in the same grade, right? They were both seniors by the time the show started. So when they graduated, it's not a stretch to assume that they had a dynamic of some kind. Mm-hmm. So I like that when he sees him, he's like, oh, Nicole, hello, right? And Nicole actually is like, oh, hello, Sirius. Like, and they have, like, a full conversation. And Sirius gives him very genuine advice that is later echoed by Frey, where he says, just don't... Frey is so great. I do want to get to Frey in a moment. But I do love that Sirius gives him that advice of don't lie to yourself.
He
which
gives
I
him
think
some
is
serious advice.
yeah.
Bada bing.
And it's some wow.
You didn't even get it right away.
No, I did not.
Oh my lord. What am I gonna do with you? What am I gonna do with you?
What are you gonna do with me? You live in my home, Space Girl. I crashed in here.
Okay, well, you know what? Sorry. I'd rather crash into manners than be a party pooper.
Oh, God. Anyway, Sirius gives very good advice.
He does.
And I think it's interesting because it echoes his the finale to the first season where he was lying to him, he felt like he was this monster and everything, and it's good to see him not lie to himself anymore, that he is capable of being a good person, because that's who he evolved into after meeting Katarina and everyone. He did become a good person, and he was still trying to be like evil, Sirius, Deke, Raphael. Ooh, he's bad. But now he's Raphael now, and he's a good version of Raphael, and he's not lying to himself about it anymore. And I think that's good that him and Nicole have that talk. It's again showing that these characters are a group. It's not just this character, like you said, this character talks to this character, but only that character, and yet they're somehow supposed to be a group of friends. Yeah. They actually all do have some sort of interaction. But speaking of interactions, Frey and Nicole.
Oh my lord. That was so good. I love the fact that right off the bat, that girl knew. She knew he was not into it. And she wasn't either, right? But she knew from the moment he looked down. She's like, you're not into this. You're not into this. Girls' intuition, you're not into this.
She really did just call him out. I was really surprised how quick she was able to just check that and immediately know where his mind was. And it's funny because we knew Frey. If you remember, she's in episode 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. When Katarina meets Jeffrey and I forget the other brother's name. Jeffrey and Ian, yeah, Jeffrey and Ian. When Katarina meets them, well, not for the first time, but the audience meets them for the first time, and Katarina is reunited with them. Both her and Ginger are there at the party, which I had forgotten until we went to record that. I'm like, oh wait, Frey and Ginger were actually in that episode. So we don't we've seen them before, but this is really the first proper introduction of Frey, where she actually gets a lot to do. And for a character who doesn't have a lot of previous history on the show, she's been there, but not in a big way, she gets a huge moment with Nicole, to the point where both of us were like, I kind of like this. I actually really like these two. Because she is very much also not interested in any sort of marriage to Nicole or anyone. She wants to be a sort of hardworking individual who is single and independent.
She needs no man. She's an independent woman.
Yeah, exactly. She's a strong, independent woman. Don't need no man. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Like me.
What?
What?
Anyway. Gotta pretend I didn't hear that.
You don't count. You're not even alive. You're unalive.
That's not nice. I am very much alive on the inside. Anyway, Frey as a character, I think is very interesting, because she is sort of she in her appearance almost sort of comes across as female Nicole from last week, where she kind of reminded me of a female Nicole. But the way that she's going about it is she's more of it almost seems like she's what Nicole would strive to be, right? She's very confident in what she wants. She's going to go out and get it. She knows, she's very intuitive, and she's very strong. And I feel Nicole lacks a lot of those qualities,
Which it's weird because, when I was watching it, I, when they were walking through who knows where, because literally, the scenery kept changing, and I'm like, where are they? I see no type of building whatsoever. This is, I don't, they're in Narnia. I don't know. They went to Narnia.
There's just flowers everywhere.
Flowers,
yeah.
Except instead of snow, it's flowers everywhere. But like, there was a part of me that was thinking, I kind of ship these two for a moment.
I did as well.
Like,
maybe it was the flowers.
Maybe it was the flowers, you know, maybe it was the serotonin, you know, but they did have a little bit of chemistry, and this might be also because we've just never seen Nicole interact in that way with anybody else. I guess like Raphael too, but like he like opened right up to her, to somebody that he doesn't know.
And he does clock that as well. Like he says, like, why am I, like a few times, like, why am I telling her about this? And it almost makes me wonder if Frey is the character who he would have married if Maria had chosen someone else in the original Fortune Lovers game. Because theoretically, Nicole would have gotten married to someone else if he wasn't chosen.
You know, that makes a lot of sense, to be honest.
That's sort of what I'm thinking, is that Frey is the person who he would have gotten together with.
Because they just kind of worked, you know, like she could tell what he was thinking or by his just body language, right? And she might be just good at reading people, but like by her like being able to help him and was able to like kind of read him, right? She kind of like completes the places that he lacks. And that's what I kind of got like the vibe of. Obviously, this was like a maybe like what 10-minute interaction between the two of them. If that, right? But we really haven't seen very much character or character development from Nicole. So, of course, this might just be we just have gotten nothing the entirety of all the this season, and now we're getting a little something with another girl, and it's like, bam, we're shipping it. We're shipping it.
Yeah. We're like FedEx. Yeah, no, but it is interesting, right? Because we see enough time has passed. Because when they begin talking, the sky is blue. Right, like outside, and then they leave. The first place they go to clearly has some sort of roof, because it's an indoor garden. And as the resident butler of the Frostmire Manor, may I say, that garden is in tip-top shape. My garden does not even come close to that. They had like the flowers hanging from the ceiling. They had the flowers all around. They had the little pathway. But then they go. It is. It's very pretty. But then it goes outside. Right? Like, so it's an indoor-outdoor garden of some kind. I don't know. And then they keep walking and walking and walking, and they end up at this fountain, and that now the sky is orange. Like, so it's sunset now. So they were clearly talking for hours and hours. And if she had Nicole, of all characters, talking for hours, like, that's impressive. Nicole talks too much? I don't think so.
What? Oh my god, yeah. I mean, that's a good point. Like, they did talk for literal hours. Like, they talked more than pretty much more than he's probably talked his entire life.
Which is insane.
I'm not gonna lie.
Probably. And that's the crazy thing. And I do wonder if... And I've mentioned this before in videos, and you and I have talked about this, where I almost wonder if when Katarina picks someone, right, when the route is secure, if like her locking in a route will suddenly make every other character like just default to the route that they're supposed to be on if they are not chosen, right? Like, will Alan and Mary just suddenly be like, actually, we like each other now, right? Because that's the way an Otome game works, is that they just sort of like fall into place if you don't pick them, right? So it almost makes me wonder if Nicole will just realize his feelings, right? That he'll actually genuinely fall for Frey if Katarina picks, say, Gerald, you know?
Yeah, well, if that
because she's sure as the hell not picking Keith, or I will drop this show so fast, I swear to God. I like Keith as a character, but not as a route.
Not as a route. Well, in my opinion, right, if Katarina was to pick, like, Gerald, right, maybe it wouldn't lock into place when she picks, but when Maria picks. Because Maria is still, like, the main character of the game.
That's true. And so by sort of hijacking it, maybe it's almost sort of sad, right? Because Katarina didn't do this on purpose, right? But
No.
by hijacking it, maybe that means that they'll never actually get over Katarina until Maria picks someone. But even then, if Maria doesn't pick someone, which she's not likely to, like, does that just mean they're all stuck in limbo? Like, that's really sad, you know?
Yeah.
And the saddest thing is, no matter who gets together with who, someone is going to be alone. At least Maria has multiple avenues she can pick, right? Maybe she ends up with Sirius.
Yeah.
Right? Which would be cute, actually.
A secret route.
The secret route, right? And then, so that would leave, Mary can get together with Alan, Nicole can get together with Frey, Gerald can get together with Katarina. So that just leaves Sophia out.
What about Keith?
Sorry?
And
And Keith. Sophia and Keith could get together. That'd be cute. I'd like that. Like, it'd be cute.
I don't know.
It'd be cute. I'd like it. Well, because I don't want them to be lonely. They'll have each other. You two get together. They're a ship of, like, default, right? Because those are the other ships that I actually want, right? Like, I want Alan to get together with Mary, and I now want Nicole to get together with Frey, right? So it's like, well, there's really no one left, right? Like, so it's Gerald I want. I very firmly am a Gerald and Katarina shipper at this point.
Me too.
It's either her and Gerald or Mary and her. Like, those are the two. And Maria. I know our friend Sun Woo is a big Maria and Katarina fan.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it feels like that feels appropriate, right? The villainess and the heroine, like, get together. That also has always felt sort of like that makes a lot of sense.
It was especially present and strong in the first season.
Yeah, Maria's definitely sidelined this season. Which is weird because this is supposed to be the sequel. Like, to Fortune Lovers, you'd assume she's a bigger player. Although, to be fair, we're, I believe, 2/3 of the way through, and we haven't even gotten to the point of the sequel yet, which is the Ministry of Magic.
Is it true? Maybe they're setting up for a 3rd season!
I would love that. I would love that. We are getting that game.
We are getting that game.
Villainess fans are feasting. They're having a full...
I sent you this morning when you were asleep, and then you didn't look at it in your DMs.
I'm sorry, all right? I was busy. I had things to do, you know? I had to clean up this whole manor by myself because I don't get help around here.
Yeah, the first thing I wake up to this morning was a good morning text of fire and hell.
That's not true. There was also tea.
I guess it's true. Anyways, we're getting off track.
Sorry. But yeah, no, Nicole was very interesting this week.
What?
But he's not the only character that had interesting things to do. I do want to, like, we are going a bit over time, so I don't want to go too long on this. But I do want to point out Ginger. Frey's Ginger.
As told by Ginger.
As told by Ginger. Is a show that I had never seen.
On the other
DMC. But Ginger is Frey's friend, who is apparently a big tsundere for Katarina. Ginger's another character we see. I'm not going to lie, when we see her and Frey in the opening, did you also think it was Archon? Because I assumed it was Archon. Like, the designs are very similar. Yeah, I thought it was Archon in some capacity, because we haven't seen her all season. And I'm starting to think we're not going to. Like, in fairness, she had a very definite ending last season. Like, her and Katarina definitely had, like, the big, like, I love you, goodbye moment, right?
I cried.
That scene is brilliant.
I cried! Anyways, we haven't seen, like, I don't know, I would just like it to be explained how Achan was there a little bit more.
I don't think it's ever gonna happen.
But I don't think that's ever gonna happen.
My assumption is that
we get what we wish for. It's okay.
My assumption is just that she was playing the game herself, and then somehow noticed that Katarina was still around and being nice. So she was like, "Is this?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, I assume, like, she was on her PC playing, and then for some reason her game corrupted and Katarina was kind. And then she just put 2 and 2 together that it was her friend. But that's my guess. But we're off topic. I do think Ginger, design-wise, is very similar to Archon, so I wouldn't be surprised if that does come into play in some way. But I do appreciate that yet another person is part of this godforsaken harem.
Okay.
She also falls for Katarina.
Another thing I'd like to point out is that when Achan and Katarina met when they were, like when she was living, right? I can't remember how her personality was when they first met.
Whose?
Achan's.
She might have been tsundere. I don't quite remember.
I don't quite remember, and this could be totally wrong.
I believe she was nice.
I feel like she was nice, or she was a little like I can't remember if it was because like she is a little tsundere, and that Katarina was like Katarina, right? And she's like hanging out with her, or if Katarina was more of a shut-in, and Achan was the one who kind of brought her out of her shell. I can't quite remember.
I can't remember. I remember like the episode where we flash back and see like them, like Katarina climbs a tree, Achan's there, Katarina falls out of the tree, Achan laughs, right? Like they like I remember the good times. I don't remember how they met. Because, and I remember the phone. Oh god, like when Achan gets the text from Katarina saying I beat so and so's route, and that's the last text she ever got. Was her saying something dumb about fortune lovers. Like it's like, oh, that's so sad.
Well, because like if Ginger is like Achan again, right? Like that would make sense. Like maybe permanently in the game, right? So that would make sense if that was her personality too.
Yes, I would like that. Because Achan would likely play the sequel, Yeah. Because she'd be thinking of her friend the whole time, right? So like maybe that's again what connects her. That there's always going to be a character that Achan can speak through in some way.
Yeah. But yeah, Ginger's a cutie. Ginger's a cutie. But,
she is.
I feel like really bad because like clearly Ginger's kind of put up walls because people are jealous of her and mean.
They're very mean. Like, yeah, they were weirdly like wicked.
I mean, it's a pretty big trope in anime to be like the smart one and seen as like you're better than everybody else.
Which is so bizarre because that's not the vibe she gives, right? Like that's not the vibe I got from Ginger. Like to me, I really did get just tsundere from Ginger, but perhaps that's because we're aware of the tropes, right? It's like, yeah, she's just a tsundere. She clearly likes Katarina to some degree.
Yeah, and she's also, I feel like a tsundere because she's put up walls because before she was just really smart and people were like, oh, she's smart, so she thinks she's better than everybody else. How dare she be so smart? That's disgusting. Like she's, gross. Blah blah blah. It's very similar to like Mercury and Sailor Moon.
That's true. Yeah, it's. Now I'm thinking of Ginger as a Sailor Scout. But it is interesting. Well, another thing I find interesting is Frey and Ginger are very clearly supposed to be characters in Fortune Lovers 2. Because they're both obviously going to the Ministry of Magic, which, by the way, again, I just want to repeat, we've been setting up for nearly 2/3 of the season.
Yep.
I do believe we're getting a third season, because I don't think we're getting to Fortune Lovers 2 yet. But like I genuinely think they'll get to the Ministry of Magic, and that's where we'll end the season, and then we'll get a season 3, which I'm totally okay with. Just want that known. But I do think that it's funny that Katarina is already, before the game even starts, winning over all routes in the sequel without even knowing she's doing it. Because that's just how Katarina is. She's a very infectious character, right? Like, she is, like, I know some people find it annoying that she's just able to win these people over, right? I feel like the way people feel about Katarina is the way people might feel about Toru Honda from Fruits Basket if they only watch the early episodes where everybody just loves Toru and they don't understand why. Like, it's sort of similar vibes where it's just everybody loves this character and you're not super sure why. But when you watch the show, like, people like Katarina because she's kind, which is not very common for a noble. So it makes her stand out,
She's really kind, she's a little quirky. She does a lot of things that a lot of noble women don't do.
She has a garden.
She's a garden. Yeah, she's just, she's just technically a normal girl stuck in a noble body.
Yeah. It's interesting. And I do want to see more of Ginger. I think Ginger and Frey also have a bit of a moment.
They did. I was kind of like, oh, is Frey gay?
Which,
is that oh.
Yeah, like, for a moment I was like, oh, is she gay? Right? Like, because the show had, like, or maybe she's bi? Like, because I got very strong feelings from her and Nicole, but I also got it from her and Ginger. And I was like, oh, maybe she's bi? Like, because the show has always had very strong bi energy, right? It's a bi harem, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, maybe she's bi. I don't know, right? It's like, or maybe she just really cares for her friend. You know, like I'm not super certain, but it is interesting. Yeah, and I do enjoy a lot of the Ginger dynamic. I want to see Ginger and Frey more. I was very happy because at first I was like, no, not new characters. Like we already have so many new characters. Stop. But every character they introduce, they get introduced very well. You know, and they're good characters. So it's like, all right, sure. And then
well, I feel like
they're
those
great.
two are gonna have to do with what's coming up as well. Considering that at the very end of the episode we had a little tidbit of something that was happening.
Something. I believe this is the creepy individual from the opening.
It probably is. It probably is.
Because that was, well, because in the moon was like a crescent, right? Like it was like a crescent blood moon, which sounds like the name of a My Chemical Romance album title. A crescent blood moon. But there's that, surrounded by candles, and then in the middle is someone, and I believe the lip shape is similar, where it's like this like bizarre, like really thin lipstick. Yep. So I believe it's the same person from the opening, and I assume that means that there's someone else practicing dark magic, which is a secret to, I believe, only like the highest of nobles, right? I believe Nicole's father knew about that, because he's the prime minister, so of course he would, and I believe Gerald's father knew, because he's the king. So like only like the highest of nobles, because I don't believe Mary had heard about it back in season 1. Yeah, so Mary didn't know, and yeah, Keith didn't know. So yeah, I think there's more. I enjoyed that aspect of this season a lot, is that we're diving more into like noble society and like the world outside of just Katarina, like it was in season 1. Like we're actually opening it up a little bit, and I find that really interesting.
We've had episodes that haven't been centered around Katarina too.
We've had a lot of them, yeah. Like the fact that this whole episode, like Katarina's in it, but she's more of like a side character in this episode. Like she's there, but like only like in reference to how other characters feel about her. You know, which
is fine.
Oh, that's more than okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It gives more time for because when you have so many characters, right? It gives more time for other characters to develop. Yeah. And it's good to have a main character, but they don't have to be in every episode like center stage.
I agree.
One last thing though.
Yes,
one last thing that we didn't touch upon. I thought it was really funny how Sophia kind of got what was going on, and she was like, well, you know, Dad says you don't have to get married. You know, Dad stole Mom away, right? Right?
Yeah.
And she's like setting up that parallel.
And so yeah, she straight up was like, I'm just saying. That was very cute. Yeah, I thought that was very funny. Yeah.
Like just saying. I love Sophia, and I love how she just cares so much for her brother, and like even though she has feelings for Katarina, she's like, no,
she puts them aside. Yeah I like that as well. Sophia's a great character. I still don't understand her connection to Kachan. Now I'm thinking of Bakugo. I still don't understand her connection to Archon. That's still weird. Not sure how that worked, but I don't think we'll ever find out.
No, I don't think we will.
Yeah. Space Girl.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Hopefully, things went well. I also might have broken something, but you'll find that out later.
What?
What?
Oh, God. And there you have this week's video on hamefura. I certainly hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button and hit all the buttons that the YouTube algorithm says that you have to hit. But before we go, I also want to give a very big thank you to my masters who help support this channel. You can check us out over on Patreon or by hitting the join button right beside the sub button. Again, hit all the buttons. Either way is $1 to help support this channel, and I would sincerely appreciate it. So again, a huge thank you to my masters who help support this endeavor. Thank you very much. And so with that thank you, that is going to be the end of today's video. A big thank you again to Stella for joining me, of course. But yes, that is it. So until next time, clean your room. It's filthy.